Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we explore the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Milan Kohut, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced, the lessons learned, and the strategies fueling future growth. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by Tianna Mamalick, the founder and search marketing strategist at SMB Marketing School, an SEO agency that equips small business owners with data-driven strategies for Google rankings and lead generation through SEO and paid ads. With over 12 years in SEO, she developed the keyword opportunity method, prioritizing high intent, low competition keywords to deliver conversions over mere traffic. With that being said, Tianna, let me officially welcome you to Founders Future.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. I was looking forward to the conversation. I think we're bound to have a good time. So let's dive into it. What I love to do at the beginning of every single episode is a bit of traveling back in time. So before you even had this agency, what were you doing before? And then eventually, what was the motivation for starting the business?
Oh, yeah, I have been in SEO my entire career. So it's been a bunch of different things. I tried everything within the industry. So I started right in nonprofit and then I went to software. I was a demand gen manager for a major software company for a long time. I've managed big budgets, I've managed the little budgets. And it's just been super cool to be able to see how different businesses and different industries work within your industry. So I love the that I had the ability to have that type of experience.
Absolutely. So this is pretty much what you've been doing your whole life,
Yeah. I
which
mean,
also
I worked at a pet store before this, but that was like pre-university even.
I got you.
Yeah.
No, but this is beautiful because it really allows you to experience a lot. There is a lot of different companies. Obviously, everybody has a different approach when it comes to this. And also when it comes to SEO, it's been on like up and downs when it comes to the industry over the years, right? So it's not an easy industry to be in. And I'm pretty sure that even with you stepping into the world of being a business owner, entrepreneur, it must have been a lot of adjusting along the way. So we're going to talk about where that journey got you overall, because my goal coming into this part of the episode is really to build some clarity for the audience in terms of who is it exactly that you want to help right now, and also what are the core offerings that you have in place for those clients. So go ahead and tell us all about it.
Yeah, so I actually started the agency. What I found with a lot of agencies is, and this is not everybody, but most of them, we start an agency, we get bigger, we want more clients, you take on more things, and you start doing things that you may not necessarily be the best at, but they're good because you have to do all of marketing together, right? SEO doesn't really work without a lot of other pieces involved, but I truly believe that my skill is actually in where SEO and paid ads kind of mirror or partner together. And because that skill was so unique, I wanted to be in an agency where we were only doing the thing that I wanted to do. And that was really hard to find. And I kind of started it myself because I was so sure that what I did was worth doing on its own, that it kind of became easy to make this decision. I worked in agencies 5 years prior to starting my own, and it's just you just get caught in like I will never be good at web development. Like that is just never going to be a skill. I will never be good at designing websites. Not my skill. And I kept getting stuck in those pieces because they're part of the greater. So when you're in an agency that does all those things, it's wonderful that they have so many people, but I tended to be in smaller agencies and I just don't feel like marketers can wear every hat anymore. I really think we need to start moving away from that. I'm not an email marketer. I'm not all these million things. And it actually made it easier once I was like, no, I want to do this one thing.
Absolutely. I feel like there is a lot of people in marketing sphere where they try to talk to everybody, provide every single service under the sun. But what ends up happening is that you're trying to talk to everybody and end up talking to nobody, right? There is not
Mhm.
enough specificity. So I like the way that you think about it. And when it comes to your own thought process in terms of determining whether you're going to end up working with somebody or not, what are those qualifications or maybe some specifics that you're looking for to really feel the alignment with your client? Who is like the ideal customer for you?
Yeah, so I have learned my ideal customer is someone who has already done all of the branding, has their messaging down pat, has proven that their product can be sold, and then realizes that they need to fill their calendar, just fill their calendar. But they need to have the calendar and the system in place before the type of support that I can give them can really work. If I start working with somebody who's proving the concept of a product, their ads are probably going to be more expensive. It's going to take me years to get their SEO to work. So I need them to prove that it works. The product is sellable. Then it's kind of like fire, fuel to the fire. Then we turn it up. And that's like the key piece right there.
Yeah. So once they're ready for the growth and scaling. And I
Yeah.
also like that you mentioned the messaging and positioning, because when you look at people in business, even those who are investing into paid ads, the majority of them, they have no clue how to effectively communicate with the target audience. So if that is the case, then it doesn't really matter what you do, whether that's a webinar, whether that's a paid ad, it's just not going to work out, right? So
Exactly. Yeah. I find a lot of people start early too. And then they're like, oh, my ads didn't work. And I'm like, was it your ads? Was it your landing page? Was it your email funnel? Was it this random 50-piece funnel that you just all of a sudden started and thought it would work? And now you don't know which part of that funnel doesn't work. So it's kind of those pieces. The sales system has to be proven first. And messaging, which we often like to say is like, oh, I know my people. So I just know how to, do it for them. People sleep on messaging all the time. Or we
yeah.
let ChatGPT do it.
Yeah, no, that's why it's important that you mentioned that this needs to be validated already. So it sounds like you're working with small business owners, but those who already run successfully the business, but they're ready to take it to another level, right?
Yeah, I usually between like 3 employees to like 50 employees is a good
Mhm.
size. So small to medium. That's why it's called SMB marketing. It's kind of a run-on SEO joke.
Yeah.
So
No, I love that. When it comes to this, do you have, I want to understand and maybe provide a better image for the listeners in terms of what does that client journey looks like. So is there like a certain framework that you take all of the clients through? What does it take on average? How much time for you to really set them up for success? How does that really work?
yeah, so I started in SEO. I have 12 years of experience in SEO. And what I started to learn halfway through my journey was that SEO and ads people don't tend to have the same skill set, but you are performing on the same platforms.
Hmm.
So it's a very, because when we're looking at like meta ads, so we do meta and Google ads primarily. So I'm going to kind of talk within those zones. But people will compete with themselves on ads and SEO because they're like, I just want to get to the top. The thing is, you don't need to compete with yourself. So, what I started to learn is that there are keywords that are fundamentally easier to get organically, and there are keywords that are easier or that you will just never win organically. So, you have to pay for. And when I started working with ad specialists within different agencies, I realized like they are bidding on things like brand keywords, which your SEO, unless someone is paying to be in front of your brand, your SEO should always cover your brand. If you're paying for your own brand and no one is actively competing against you, you are just putting money in for no reason. Because you're showing up here paid, and then you're not. Then you're showing up here organically, and people are gonna more likely press the paid one. So I started to realize that there's this unique strategy that you could do where if you pick a keyword list, and I know everybody's with AI, like keywords are dead. They're not dead. They're working differently, but we still use keywords to kind of guide the topic within marketing. So, or within that search marketing area. If you take some of those keywords and do them organically and hit them really hard, and even use some of your paid ads to support some of your organic by doing like different call outs and different site links, there was this unique place where all of a sudden you're paying for your ad revenue to cover the cost of your long term lead generation.
Hmm.
So that's
Absolutely.
what we started
I feel
doing.
like this is one of the favorite quotes for a lot of people. It doesn't work anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. Tiana, when it comes to, let me ask you this question, because when it comes to your industry, there is always the big question of scalability, right? And I know that this is the set of questions that you also need to be asking yourself pretty much on a daily basis. So when it comes to this, do you feel like the scalability is going to be in you basically hiring other coaches, maybe having them on your team to deliver on the done for you aspect? Is it going to be about you pivoting more towards consulting? How do you really see that scalable model for your own company?
Yeah, so I have a small team and I love teaching. So I'm not gatekeeping any of this information. If you follow me on social media, it is all there. I want people to learn how to do this because I don't want people to waste their money. Like we waste so much money in marketing because People are afraid of the word strategy because we feel like it's this big, huge word. But I think of it as like, one page. Like you just need one page that tells you what you're doing, where you're focusing on. If you're focusing on 5 keywords and 3 of them are organic and 2 of them are paid, like you probably have more keywords than that, but you get the idea. So when it comes to scaling, I want to scale a team up that uses my process. And right from the beginning, I'm actually writing a whole book on this. So there will be a book on the entire process and strategy. But right from the beginning, I started SOPs. Before I even had a team, I started SOPs. Everything is very process oriented, everything is done the same. With AI, we think everything is changing so drastically. AI is 80% of the conversation, but only about 10% of the traffic. So when it comes down to it, we're still doing the same things to meet the same goals. And SEO, I don't care what, alphabet soup you call it, GEO, AIEO, like whatever words you use, SEO is search engine optimization. So we're optimizing a search engine. That's not Google specific. That's not social specific. It's everywhere. So I put these SEO SOPs in place and I am training a team. And I love to take on people who are a bit newer in the industry, but have great experience with content or have been in different, like a lot of my team actually came from social media and wanted to learn SEO. So as we go, I train them up. And to be honest, the idea is train them up and either train them out or train them to, kind of grow their skills from there.
Yeah, I love the fact that you took the time to create all of those SOPs because I was literally just having a conversation with somebody else, and I was talking about the fact that the idea of growth is very attractive to anybody in business. But when it comes to this, it's like a house. If you don't build the right fundamentals and you don't know how the strategy should really work, then it's just going to come crashing down, right?
Mhm.
So I love this, and also it seems like you already successfully delegated. So delegation has become one of the biggest topics on this podcast. So I want to get your take on it and your philosophy when it comes to this. First of all, what is really the structure of your team? Have you already hired, whether that's like a marketing team, sales, fulfillment, whatever the case might be? And also, what is that philosophy in terms of when is the right time to take the next step and make that next hire?
Yeah, so I got really lucky. My business model was built on I had a mentor that ran an agency and she actually retired. So I bought her client book. So I got in a little bit and I would say if anybody's trying to buy a business, like work with a marketer who's a little bit older and wants to eventually get out because when it comes to marketing, you can sell an agency, but it's really more about selling the client book. So get in with the clients, find the right person. It was actually a really good way to get into the business and be very successful very quickly. So because I did it that way, I already had a bit of processes. Now I did throw a lot of those out because I did have a very unique way I wanted to do things. But because I started that way, I sort of started with an idea, not a team, but an idea. I hired way too early. But I wasn't prepared to manage people. So I'm really glad I hired early because I got all of the really bad hiring choices that I made and all of those kind of fumbles out in the beginning. You're lucky if you start a business and you've hired somebody before or you've trained someone before. But if you are like me and you've only ever managed projects prior to starting your business, one of the worst and biggest fumbling learnings that I did was the people because managing people is like a different ball game. I
Different set of
have
skills.
oh, that's a skill. That is a skill in itself. So I hired early. I messed up early. I honestly, my take on it was tell the truth, be very, very open with them. A lot of the times I hired people and said, look, you were my first hire ever. And we're going to have to figure this out together. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But, this is what we're doing. Maybe don't be quite that, ruthless. But that was the idea behind it. And I think now I've got a really, really good, really tight team that is happy with what they're doing. And I feel like they're really getting it. But I've been in business for 2 years, and I would say the team just started like mid to late last year. So it has been
Mm.
me for most of that.
Yeah. Have you hired for the fulfillment, or is it at this point like there's also somebody taking the calls, getting with the onboarding process, or how does the structure really look like?
Right now, our structure is I do strategy. I still take on all the strategy. That one is that SOP and that learning has been a beast to try to figure out how to replicate. We are doing it, but it is slow. One of the pieces of advice I would give people is even if you think you can't SOP it or if you can't put an outline to it, if you are a knowledge worker, there is a way for you to process this. Even if you think like I thought, oh, these strategies that I do, they're so cool. No one could copy me. You don't want to be that person. Maybe you want to be a consultant, but if you don't want to be a consultant, like you have to SOP it. So we figured out how to do that. I do all of the strategies. I have support for onboarding and all of the, client management. And then I also have support with delivering. So we have writers. We use a lot of, I have 2 full-time employees, and then we use contractors to fill in the blanks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me circle back to something though, because we were mentioning several times that one of the biggest things that you help your clients with is lead generation. And again, this is also something that you need to deal with in order to have the ability to, keep onboarding new clients and keep changing those lives. So what is really happening on the front of your own marketing and what's happening with generating those contacts and leads to make all of this even happen?
Oh, it's been fun. We do kind of twofold. So we have our own ads going. Always have ads going. I love ads. I feel very strongly that if you're doing ads well, ads are there to support people, not to ruin people's lives. So as long as you're doing them well, I would always run ads, and you have the budget, because sometimes they don't work and sometimes they do, and you have to be prepared to invest in it. It's not like you're going to turn them on and immediately get leads. Like everybody thinks that that's not how it works. So we have our ads going, and then I actually have invested extremely heavily in my personal brand. So
Mhm.
I do believe in that. I have done a lot of PR. And I know we're in an online world. I go to a lot of in-person events, and a lot of my clients still come from in-person events and meeting people. A lot of my followers have come from that. So I do believe that if you are in this, and if you are the face of your company, you do want to still kind of build a personal brand. I think that will supersede almost anything else. Like that has been the most major impact for my leads.
Yeah. You know what? I feel like when, as you were talking about at the very beginning of the podcast, you said that the best scenario is where this works as a symbiosis between the SEO and ads. And this is pretty much the same thing between you building that reach organically, but also investing into paid ads, right? That's also one of those situations where it just works best if you combine it. So, yeah, go ahead.
I love because one of the things, like with SEO, PR is another one that a lot of people sometimes relate back to, but don't always relate back to. And I think PR people should actually know more about SEO, and SEO should know more about
Sure.
PR, because those two pieces are so significant together. Like I have spoken to some major PR firms, or I've gone in and trained them. Everything they're doing is link building. You could go to an SEO and pay for, low quality links, or you could do PR and get high quality links and just make sure that they're actually do follows, which means that Google will see them and rank you for them. And that simple thing, now everything you're doing in PR is also link building, so you don't have to do that in SEO.
True. Yeah, Tiana, I'm enjoying this a little bit too much. I love the way you think about it. So, but let me ask you about something else. Obviously, there is a lot of ambition. I hear a lot of passion for the type of work that you do. So I'm curious, what is that vision that you created for yourself and the company that you want to make eventually a reality? Especially when you think about just the short-term goals, maybe the next 12 months. What would you say really are the biggest targets, biggest goals, revenue, milestones, whatever comes to your mind?
Yeah, so in the next 12 months, I want to get everything solidified. So I've actually only been in business for 2 years. So we are a very new company. Getting the team kind of set up was the main goal. I think we've sort of hit that marker this year. So it's about getting to the revenue goals that we have to start doing the things that we truly, truly want to do. And one of those primary things is taking students and taking people that are new to marketing, bringing them into the business, using them, teaching them on the method, and then letting them go out into the world. Because when it comes to marketing, we don't have a lot of like governing bodies. So there's a lot of people out there, and I appreciate if this is you and you're trying, but web designers are coming in and saying, I'm selling SEO packages, and they don't even know what that means. They think just because there are keywords on the website that that's an SEO package. So I want people to come into the industry and know what they're doing. So SMB marketing is actually called SMB Marketing School. And I would like it to be a school that brings people in, teaches them within that marketing framework, and then lets them out into the world. And I want to be one of those brands that's known well enough that people are like, okay, you went to SMB market, or you worked for SMB marketing, you were trained. So we know that you can do lead generation, or you could be part of these. And
Mhm.
that is like the dream of the brand. So the next step in the next 12 years is to get that school really going, get those people training, and kind of work up from there.
12 months, you mean?
Yeah.
I got you. You just said 12 years, so I'm like,
Oh,
hold
sorry,
on.
12 months. Yeah.
I was
I
like,
mean, in 12 years, we'll probably be doing the same thing,
oh,
but
100%. 100%. No, I love this. So this is basically going to be academy for people who really want to get good at it and basically just work with the methodology that you created.
Mhm.
So beautiful. When you really think about the growth and scale that you want to see for the company, what would you personally expect to stand in a way or maybe become the biggest challenge in terms of making that growth happen?
I think we all like to not admit this, but I think I am the biggest challenge when it comes to growth. So it's me being a bottleneck, me not wanting to hand off specific tasks. You had kind of talked about that, like where you delegate things. It is really hard to delegate as a new business owner because you want to keep it at the quality level that you're at, but at the same time, you can't do everything. And that as soon as I learned that, I kind of flipped the switch and said, okay, now I have to just be a really good teacher. And I didn't come into business thinking that I would be a teacher. But in the end, if you are the business owner and you are teaching people how to do the things that you do, that's what you end up being.
Absolutely. Tiana, we just spoke for about 15, 20 minutes, but you managed to share a lot. So at this point, I'm going to say thank you so much for taking some time sharing this lovely story with me and the audience here. I really appreciate your time. And if anybody from those listeners would like to get in touch with you and perhaps even work with you, how should they go about it?
You can find me. I am very active on Instagram, so at SMB Marketing School. You can also go to the website smbmarketingschool.com. And we do have a few really, really great courses. So if you're just starting out in marketing, you have a business, they're all easy, get started. I do think even if you're hiring someone, like know what you are hiring for. So those are what the courses are really for.
Beautiful. Thank you again. It was a pleasure to have you on.
Thanks so much for having me.
Now, to our listeners, if today's conversation inspired you as well, make sure to subscribe to Founders Future on your favorite platform. And also, if you're a business owner, more specifically a consultant or a coach, or you have an agency and you're trying to scale the business and really enhance both your sales and marketing efforts, also visit closers.io, get in touch with our team, and discover how exactly we scaled our company from zero to over 30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on crushing it, and I'll see you on the next one.